Yeah, man, I miss that song. The saxophone. That hits home. What's up, y'all? What's up? I had a couple angry uploads today. Not really angry, just venting. Just venting. But I think I've listened to Mike and Anita's video, the one that I was talking about, 4 times today. I think I finally got it. I think I'm finally catching on. We're going to talk a bit about it because there's some interesting information in there. Not that it's, I'm not even going to give you a disclaimer. We're just going to look at it. But I was listening to Wade's interview again. I like to refresh myself over exactly how Wade expressed certain things now. And of course, in order to do that, you have to go over to Adventures Underwater UK, which is a fantastic channel who has, well, used his foresight enough to know what's important in these circumstances. People always tend to get away and they have to rely on their memory. And of course, with that comes some mistakes. So it's always good to go refresh your memory. So that being said, I went back and I looked at Tint's, he's got Tint's full video up there. So Cindy was there that day that they did that interview. And I can't say for sure, but now I'm thinking I was under the assumption that he gave Cindy $30. Gave Cindy $30 to hold that horse cart that he was there talking to them about. So does that mean that Cindy was standing right there beside Wade when Wade was talking? I think that's really interesting if it is true, because, and one can interpret it in different ways. We don't have the luxury, but he's got a cycled video that plays along with the audio. That's not really attributed to what you're seeing in the video. But the first thing he says, well, not first thing, what he mentions when Tint brings up Jack and Lilly, he says, yeah, that's her grandkids. So how do I know Boss Man? Boss Man, is that you? Is Boss Man 11234 Bradley Wong? Is that Bradley Wong in my chat? Isn't that who Boss Man is? If it is, hello. Oh, Mayflower, yeah, you asked him? According to Tint, Cindy was there the whole time? Yeah, like, but what does there mean? Does there mean like in the house when he was outside? Yeah, good to see you, man. Does that mean Cindy was in the house, or was Cindy out with them while Wade was talking and walking and things like that? I'm just wondering, that's what you get too? No, alongside of him, you're saying? Well, I'm still leaving it open because I can't really tell. I can't really tell for sure. So I don't know, but I thought it would be interesting to bring up, but everybody else is already on that. Yeah. It seems, it's weird that you don't hear her talking at all during any of that or adding anything. Well, is it? I mean, who's going to be talking like that to a stranger? I don't know. Wade. I'm glad he did. But, you know, it's just worth speaking. It's worth mentioning. He gave her $30 to hold that horse trailer. What a nice guy. Just a second, please. Yes. Oh, Stacia, good to see you. Hello, Corbin. Susan Bezio, always good to see you. CB9er says Cindy was there in the beginning and made the deal. Then she went in and Tint and Wade went to remove a wasp nest in the trailer. Oh, I see. That's interesting. Yeah, so yeah, Cindy was there. Well, I would have thought if Cindy was out there, you might hear her interrupt maybe, or, you know, it just seemed very Wade centric, but it would make sense if she was just in the house and not and they're off talking. But there's points in this video I want to play the first portion in sections of Mike's video, because I want you to see what Wade had to say. And she brings it on into and ties it all in, and we're going to get there together so there's no confusion, or as little as possible. Mayflower says, I asked him if Cindy went inside. He said no. My question was, why didn't she say something like, honey, can you come over here for a minute? Then say, what the fuck? I don't know, Mayflower. I'm just putting it out there. Either or, if the answer was either or. I was just trying to get clarification on it. So I guess I'll still put it out there. I'm not trying to make my mind up yet. But if you're saying that, then there's other people. Like, it seems that CB9er is saying another thing, which isn't surprising. So I'll just leave it out there. Might have to go back and re-listen to that. Not like I'm going to hear Cindy, because Cindy you can't hear Cindy. So it's just the way he portrayed it, or the way that Wade, it sounds like in the media, Wade was acknowledging maybe they moved and they were walking and talking. It kind of sounds like they were doing different things. They weren't just in one spot, and it was edited together. Like there was more that he cut out there. I'm just trying to get a better grasp on it. That's all. But thank you for the info. Oh, the real Norbeaster, you're saying you're pretty sure she knew Tint was recording? In my opinion, they wanted that info out and saw an opportunity to deal with Danny Boy. Well, there's no need to look into it anymore. Wow. Hey, listen, I appreciate the input. Yeah, it doesn't sound like anybody has a whole lot of love for the Dan man. Nobody's got any love for him. It's a lonely, lonely life. So eventually, Anita's conversation gets into this schoolhouse out by Salt Spring Elementary. I keep saying island, but Salt Spring Elementary. I meant to say elementary. And she talks about things that were going on there, and I'm picking up and I'm assuming that she's insinuating that Danny potentially and the crew, his little crew, use it as a filming location, use it as a place to take individuals that they somehow come in contact with off possibly Leo's list. This Leo's list conversation is interesting. It's suggesting that that's really where Danny and Malaya met, as opposed to what they told police or what they mentioned being Facebook dating, either or. But if they met on Leo's list, it would suggest that Danny may have been a patron already of something that Malaya may have been advertising, or maybe Danny has a whole scam, a whole push hustle going on up there on Leo's list with fake women, and he'll just put up pictures and try to get whoever he has available to him to come make some money at the time. Somebody who he's got under control in that sense. Whether it be Malaya or maybe there's some other girls. But she also talks a lot about Hayden and Danny's history and the messages that she received from somebody she doesn't know, by the way. Hold on, Chair. Just a sec. One of YouTube channels posted an unedited version, forgot which one. CB9er, there's an unedited version of it out there? What is edited? You mean without Tint's edit? It would probably be Tint, wouldn't it? You wouldn't be surprised if she did smut videos, in my opinion. Oh, listen, look at how judgmental we're all getting. What, you haven't made a naughty video? You haven't tried selling your dirty videos to your friends at work? I thought everybody does that. I thought that's just the norm. I don't even know. That's what people are suggesting. That's where the conversation is going to go today. So that's all. That's why I brought that up. I've been exploited myself. It's staggering how much it happens. Sick people recruiting young folk with drugs or money for pictures and actions. Well, yeah, that's a whole thing, right? Unfortunately, especially when it comes to the internet and blackmail and sextortion. This is along the lines, but a lot worse. You found it and sent me the link, CB9er. Where to my inbox? Yeah, I don't see it. It's all right. That's all right. I'm not expecting it, but it's interesting that you bring it up.
Glasgow.
New Glasgow.
Or you go this way, it'll take you to Oxford and Amherst, Spring Hill.
Yeah, it's funny. The last time I heard about New Glasgow is about like 2 children was missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening in New Glasgow.
Those are her grandkids.
Are you kidding me?
No.
For real?
Yeah, that part right there. It makes me feel like she's standing right there, like he's giving her the nod. Yeah, it's her grandkids. Maybe he's pointing to her, and she's in the house. I don't know. Yeah, it's too bad to hear. I'm sorry about that, Norbeaster. Yeah, so that was the clip that I was referring to at any length. Not that that's going to tell you the complete story, because, of course, conversation gets going in a different direction. And Wade's got a lot to say, right? Wade had a lot to say. So imagine the conversation with the other people who know Danny like that. There's got to be a lot of others you would expect, especially when it comes to work, because you don't have a real choice of who you're around at work. You don't have the choice to include or anything like that. Now hold on. So, okay, so let's start this. Let me just get it pulled up for a moment. I have to make an adjustment here.
Ended up coming back. I turned on Dateline, and I know it was 4:30, so I fell asleep. It was amazing.
Yeah, it's on my end. It's because of the storm, guys. The storm we had. The image that I put up? Well,
all right, here we go.
Wade has a lower pin, Anita, of these people. Steal, fraud, abuse, dirty drugs, liquor, make messes, party, spoiled, rotten brats, psychos, never accountable for their actions. Yeah. That's pretty much about Malaya and Haley. And Hayden, not Haley. No consequences. Hayden probably says for Daniel, did drugs with him at Patty's, could have been living in Pictou with them. Sneaky, all of them.
So, that's where we'll start. Now, if we're to take Brandon's account as credible, and we do, around 10:48, his presence there, Hayden's presence, Emily, and the third unknown tan driver that obscured their face, along with Alvin McKenzie, were all on Landsdown Road. It tells us that Hayden was there in that car doing something you would have to expect that previous night. So sometime between, and by the way, just keep that in the back of your mind. You know, the more I think about it, friends, the less I really believe. Is believe the right word? Let me rephrase that. I've got a problem with the RCMP not releasing any footage or any photographs from the CCTV from the Dollarama or the dollar store, wherever they were, at 2:30 on Thursday in New Glasgow. Why is there no image or video associated with it? Why? That question, just as it is, to the RCMP. I'm not asking anybody in my chat. I'm not asking for that. The more I think about that question, the more that tells me that there's a little bit more trickery going on, or maybe I'm not suggesting that they're trying to mislead. They're just saying that they saw kids on a video. They're trying to tell us that they saw Jack and Lilly in the store on Thursday at 2:30. And that's the last time that they were seen in public. Well, why not? Why wouldn't they, like you would expect every other time, them to release some images? It tells me, at least, the very least, that they are suspect of something else at that time. There's more to their investigation. They're just releasing it as a piece of information. So how much we can trust that? Well, we have to take it into consideration. So we really don't have a good, solid story from Danny and Malaya going back to really Wednesday. There's something else in these 48 hours that's going on. There's something going on. There's a reason why they're behaving strangely. There's a reason that the kids aren't in school. Corbin, oh, well, that's been a suggestion. I'm glad you brought that up. You can have some cold water, my dear. Grab your cup and take it. I read somewhere someone said that it wasn't like Jack and Lilly. It was Jordan's girlfriend's kids, and they are the same age as Jack and Lilly, and that's why the RCMP haven't released it. Well, I don't know about all of that, Corbin. Be careful, because Jordan's going to get triggered. He'll be stomping his feet over there. I don't know about that, but it wouldn't surprise me. Corbin, it's not so far-fetched at this point. It's not so far-fetched. Maybe at the time it was unwarranted because we didn't have a real reason to believe anything. It was difficult. But the more time that's gone by, the more credible that witness who Jordan got all pissed off over, because the witness who came with that eyewitness sighting of kids and Malaya and Daniel in the driveway on that Thursday seems to be checking out, and it obviously it strikes a chord. Like, when things aren't true, friends, if somebody's just out there making up shit, first off, a person doesn't get upset. A person usually doesn't get mad and upset. It doesn't make any sense for Jordan to get so pissed off at that point in time if there wasn't some sort of problem around that witness account. The person didn't even, I can't remember it. I could just remember it happened, Corbin. So maybe you got it all from that particular witness sighting. I'd have to go back to November when that was all happening. But no buts. Like, it wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. And there's something to the report. And when you go back and you take a look at the screenshot that Malaya gave over about, her geolocation, her Google location, it goes right through, right where Jordan is in Westville, like right by there. There's a big circle up to the Trans-Canada, almost right around Salt Spring Elementary, and then over just north of Westville on the Trans-Canada, and then back down. We have a video of it if you scroll back long enough. Just a clapping seal. Most wouldn't think it's a big deal if their friend stopped by. Right. And I think it had to do with I think, if I remember, Jordan was pissed off because he was trying to make it look like, he was spinning and twisting it in the first place. So who really actually knows what he's mad about? Other than he's upset and raging over what exactly? Can never quite get a clear understanding of that from him. So there's something to that account. And that witness account has a lot more, I think, to say. Hold on, somebody's beckoning my call. Let me press play.
Wade, of course, he doesn't want to be involved. But you know what, dude? We got to involve you because you are a witness. And just because the Pictou County RCMP isn't doing their job, it doesn't mean that, people need to be in the dark about anything. So I'm doing this because I want the public to know a little bit more about what has been going on the inside of that family. We're talking right now about Malaya's family, primarily because that is a family Anita knows and that she has a lot of insight on. And Anita is a witness to a lot that has been going on inside of Malaya's family. So, Anita, if you've been quiet, you can say something right now, and I will see that hopefully you are audible enough.
All right. Okay, the real Norbeaster. I can't disagree with that, bro. Or ma'am, I should say. I'm sorry. Called you bro. Of course, Jordan got angry. He's an effing tweaker. Tweakers in a paranoid state always get angry. Yeah, but what I'm saying is that there's more to it than just, just that. There's more to it than him just being a tweaker and running around and raging. Okay, he's associated with it. Either he's been pulled in by Daniel or, he's got guilty knowledge. He's got knowledge of something other than the official story in that sense. So what that is, we'd love to find out. The good thing with people who get triggered easy like Jordan is that it's easy to press them for more leakage, we'll say. Into leakage of guilty knowledge, I'll say.
I think I need to take a...
I'm here.
Good. I hear you right now.
Oh,
So
one
this
thing
is...
I want to clear up.
Mhm.
That Charmaine lady show with Daniel. I did listen to a little bit today when I was bored.
Uh-huh.
And Daniel was speaking about the coats or whatever. I never
Yeah.
said, I don't think I said the size of the coats or the size he's saying is an extra large man's coat. And so is she. And again, she's wrong, misinformation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I figured. So I haven't even listened to it again. I know there are so many hours of Daniel on those shows, but there's too much. The questions are not right. They're not right questions. And whenever there's something interesting,
Not in this case, the real Norbeaster. Do I think if you put a tweaker in a cell and force detox, they will tell the truth? Well, unfortunately, you can't do that. I wish you could. Sometimes people do get desperate for a fix. Yeah. Nah, I don't think that's really the problem here. It just so happens that Jordan is probably a tweaker in that sense too. But the guilty knowledge is really what's eating him, and he can't regulate his emotions well enough to prioritize things and compartmentalize things in your mind. He's already fragmented, and he fragments his personality again every time his daddy goes upside his head. And Danny comes over and gets him all fucked up and conditions him into thinking a certain way again. They have to come and reset him like he's some sort of out of control robot. Well, that's an understatement of the year, Captain Justice, but I'm with you. I bet they have already gone to extreme lengths to hide the truth. Yeah, that's, I guess, a roundabout way what we're always getting at around here, right? Of course. All this is an effort to cover up what Danny, or I should even say that now, what they did to Jack and Lilly. So whatever that it is, they have worked extremely hard to avoid speaking of that or commenting on what that is since the get-go. You could even get a sense of that right in Malaya's interview. Like, who starts coming up with possible suggestions? Oh, it's a possibility that they could have been abducted. Yeah, that reeks of nonsense. Well, nonsense in the sense that nobody believes that particular story. Why don't you get a hold of things and tell people why exactly you felt the need to call 911? How's about that? Instead, she gets in front of the camera and immediately justifies by claiming the types of parents that they need us to believe that they are. Oh, we're not the types of parents that don't go outside. Well, then why the fuck are you bringing it up and why are we here? Because this was the exception? They decided to go out on their own. It was if it was a problem already. Well, you suggested that they were possibly autistic and they were known to wander. Then you immediately, Malaya, contradicted that in your statements to police. This whole situation stinks. And I guess, yeah, I just wish people would elaborate a lot more about why it is that they're pissed off about the responding officers, the response. The response to this was just like a plug and play. They do the same thing any time they get a report of a child gone missing. They do the same thing every time. So, but here we go. We all know, or should I say to be proper, we all suspect, no, we all know, everybody knows that Daniel, Malaya, and Janie have presented a false story. They've essentially committed a crime, covered up the scene, and falsely reported their children as abducted. That's what's really going on here. That's what it is. So it's a constant battle in the media. People try to get their information through the RCMP as though it's still a legitimate missing child's case, when we all fucking know that there's a lot more to the story than we've been presented. So it's a constant frustration for certain people trying to understand what really happened. Good luck with that. If you want to understand what really happened, you got to get into what we're talking about here, what we talk about on mics, what Anita's talking about. Listen to Brandon, even listen to the J-Man, Justin, and his monkey. Oh, I didn't forget about the unaliving. We have to figure out what that it is. That's the it I'm just talking about right there, Captain J. But, you know, at this point in time, we have more individuals and even more reason to believe, based off of eyewitness accounts, that there's a group of individuals that are working actively almost right away. Now, when is right away? That's almost a foolish indicator, because we're suggesting almost right away based upon that 17 minutes, based upon their call to the RCMP at 10 o'clock. But we know that the kids weren't there. We don't know. We're suspect that the kids weren't even around. All right. It's contradictory to their story, to their claims, not the truth. The truth is something that they're trying desperately to avoid. So it would suggest by multiple eyewitness accounts that there was really something else going on there on Thursday. And look at us a year later. You remember one of the first things when they were coming out with information through Danny's ridiculous interview with the CBC, one of the first things he addressed was people witnessing the comings and goings on that previous Thursday. People were under the impression that there was perhaps a party. Well, you can probably get that from any day from that place. There's God knows how many cars in the driveway. They've got a whole conglomerate, a group of individuals that hang around and, just get fucked up. And they hang around near Danny because he's the man with the meth. He's the man that deals the drugs. He's the man with the connection, allegedly. So how much Hayden is associated with all of this, I'd like to know. Something brought him there that day. Was he already there? And was Justin living there? Yeah, you're exactly right, the real Norbeaster. A year later, and opinions never changed, but got affirmed through more and more details, surprisingly enough. Well, it's very difficult to gauge because you can't help but get pulled into what it is that the guilty parties are saying. So you have to almost remind yourself in real time. You can't rely on one thing that Daniel has stated about what went on. Not anything. Not an iota of it. And that Janie, weak. What fucking campground are you talking about, Sioux Oilers? And who is she that won't last long on math? Nobody's even associating Malaya to being on it. She's probably got her own set of pills. Yeah, that M&D are 24-hour party people. What does that mean? Well, Anita is going to talk a little bit more into that. And this whole Leo's list comes in. That tells you the types of things that they're getting up to in the background. And it has nothing to do with love and relationships. Oh, fuck. We've got some smart ones in our fucking chat. You can get the fuck out. Oh, I'm so happy you came in and commented. Fuck, I can't remove it. Oh, that's my torture. I'm tortured now. Where's my mods? Mods, take out Anne.
Thing that needs a follow-up question, they don't ask that. So a lot of good stuff gets lost. But again, I'm always willing to listen if somebody gives me a timestamp. It's just that, one of those lives, Daniel is on there for 8 hours. I'm sure there's something interesting there, but I'm not going to, go through all of that. Now, especially not having Anita, the witness here with me, having access to Mr. Brandon, having people around me whom I can ask questions to clarify very important, details. So this is just a little bit of an intro of how how Wade really feels. And, he's had to keep this to himself. And of course he, had to vent somewhere, and he did. And okay, oh yeah. Here's something about, he tells Malaya, their first date at the Waterfall, kids could be there, told Cindy to ask Malaya about what waterfall he talking about. She doesn't remember. People talking about Big Island Beach and Pictou. Okay, so this is something we already talked about. So he's on the same track here with us. I mean, he knows there's something important about that. And the other thing now that we're going to talk about is an accusation, a heavy accusation. Okay? And that has to do with an assault that supposedly took.
Wade might think. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. But I hear myself too.
Oh. Wade might think at that time when he's 10, he might have thought Cindy was at work and he may not have asked her until later. He might have thought, like me, when the car was traded and her lease was up, the questions may not have come till later.
Now you're breaking up.
Oh no.
Okay, now yes, I heard the oh no. Again, I hope it's.
Well, I went closer to the window.
That's correct. I think he was seen, boss man. He was seen in that black Honda Civic. But at that time, I believe Brandon said that there was another driver. I don't know much past about who has the black Honda Civic or who owns it. I'm not sure whose it is exactly, but we'll put the question out there. But essentially, yeah, Hayden was identified with that black Honda Civic.
It could be on my end. You saw the storm earlier here, man, and immediately, you know.
No, and now you sound a little bit. I can hear you.
Yeah.
But you sound a little far.
I see.
But you are far away.
Well, yeah, but I shouldn't sound it. But so this is now what's redacted here is the name of the victim. Okay. In the end, Hayden was charged with assault and a restraining order was put in place. Name redacted is doing so much better now. That whole family is a mess. He was hitting her, threatening her, keeping her locked. So the question is, who? Yes, that is Malaya's brother. I'm glad she is doing better now. Did Hayden assault your daughter? Do you want to talk about? No, you cannot say who you're talking to right now. This is not Wade you're talking to, right? Obviously, because it's not Wade's daughter, right? Just to clarify.
No. You mean?
Yeah, this particular message that you can see on my screen right now.
Oh, allegedly.
Yeah.
Where the message come from? Wade?
Yeah, this is not from Wade.
Oh, it's. Oh, hold on. Hold on, Mike.
Because you're asking, I'm glad she's doing better now. Did Hayden assault your daughter? So you're asking a parent, right?
No, that's sent from someone I don't know to me to tell me.
I see. Okay.
If I knew about it.
Got you. So here is the allegation. And again, this is something that was sent to Anita. Yes, that's Malaya's brother. I've got first-hand info that a young 15-year-old girl dated Malaya's brother, Hayden. This young teen was locked up by Hayden and Daniel Martel, was giving her cocaine. This is, I'm reporting on what was sent to me. This is a very credible source. The parents are well-known community members with outstanding jobs and positions. And as best of parents as we can be, And the great advice we give to our children, ultimately make their own decisions, I guess. Their daughter is a warrior. She is a resilient young lady. She's a fighter and survivor. Hayden was criminally charged. So what Anita believes is that, Hayden wouldn't give up Daniel. He wouldn't tell Daniel was there too. And Hayden was charged for it. And this is something I have been hearing about for quite some time. And
Yeah, I think we all have. I think we've all heard this for quite some time. It's interesting. Very sad. Now, I don't want to be a stickler, but it'd be hard to believe on the surface, knowing that fucking cheap bastard Danny, that he's given this individual the expensive stuff when he's getting high on the mathematics. The math would be far more effective. You could save the blow for yourself. Let's remember the blow is natural, as though it can be used and abused in the same sort of ways. Mathematics is a synthetic, man-made catastrophe. And once you're on it, you usually don't do both, Anita. But we'll talk about it later. But they keep talking about blow in that sense, the devil's dandruff. I just take that out and replace it with speed, just dirty coke or dirty math that Danny was shaking and baking. Or maybe they got a gram. It's hard to believe that they spent all kinds of money on this girl just to have a party with her. Like, it seems a little different.
now I'm sharing it right here in order to let you guys in on, the connection. Hayden has been, drinking and whatever. And when Daniel moved there to Patty's, Hayden and Daniel connected. And allegedly, that's when a lot of drug abuse began. And so you may ask yourself, why is Hayden there in the morning planting evidence? Yeah. Where was Hayden that whole
Lindy,
night? We need to know.
Streetwise, the appeal for it is really an alternative to Coke, because Coke is extremely expensive in comparison to, well, especially Shake and Bake, especially to even cleaner Crystal. You get higher, it lasts longer, and it costs a fraction of the price. So if somebody like Danny, who's hooked on the mathematics, probably wouldn't be, unless he was using Patty's money, going in and buying too many 8-balls.
A lot more from him. And I don't know how much the police has asked him, but I think that he is somebody that needs to be looked at. And remember, Anita also said he had to be kicked off the property that night that Malaya left Daniels. Anita told us about how he said, you are lying to Malaya.
No, it was the Saturday after Malaya left with the baby.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get there till Sunday.
Gotcha.
That's when I'm going to say the names because I don't care anymore. Stephanie and Angela were outside on the side, and I didn't know the people in the house, and it was kind of a strange atmosphere because they were partying and doing whatever. And when I went outside to the side,
What a bizarre
I
scenario.
talked to Cindy outside, and Wade was up.
So, place the scene a week later over at Cindy's house, the Saturday after she left Daniel, and everybody's over there having a party. What? People over there drinking and having a party? Is that what? That would be what's off. Aren't we all supposed to be in mourning? Aren't we all supposed to be preoccupied with finding missing kids, y'all? And she's saying that Hayden cracked and had an outburst towards Malaya about catching her in a lie in that sense. That upset him greatly. And I'm pretty sure that he wasn't getting upset over her lying about his high score on Donkey Kong.
Upstairs, he came down. He always comes and gets my bags. And they kind of scattered after I got there, went over by the pond. Hayden and two guys I didn't know. And there was other people. And that's when Stephanie, after I went back outside.
Mayflower, was Hayden charged recently with elder abuse? That was talk, I believe, that Anita brought that up. Who let her know that? I can't remember off the top of my head how we know that, but yeah, it has something to do with Wade telling Anita that. I think it was one in a screenshot, if I remember correctly, Mayflower. Not saying that everything's true in screenshots, but that's where it came from. Was Hayden charged recently with elder abuse? That even Durwood, I believe, mentioned that the cops came and picked Hayden up from Patty's place. So take all of that information, what you will.
She must have figured Cindy had told me, and she said...
It would seem so, yes. Is that easy enough? It would seem so.
Last night, and I said, no. She said, Hayden freaked out. I said, RCMP. I said, why? She said he was going to attack Malaya and say she was lying.
Well, let's do one better. But I hear you. Who's that saying that, Ramelia? I'm with you. It's very telling they don't care about Jack and Lilly. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. But then when you start to get not numb to it, but once you realize that, it really sticks out that their priority, they're really trying to get one, like, what the fuck were they doing? And how many people were there engaged in it? It's scaring me. It's like anticipating going into a really scary drop on a roller coaster. You're just waiting for the inevitable to be, to verify itself or to be true in this. Like, it sounds as though they were doing all kinds of filming and including, perhaps, I don't want to go that far yet, but you have to wonder if the Jack and Lilly were being included in some sort of either money-making scheme. They were being abused voluntarily through favors. And Daniel and Malaya were allowing this to happen, or the like. Like, it's not too much of a stretch of the imagination. They just don't always lock the kids away and go on about their business. Like, the kids were growing up in this environment with this extended bunch. No wonder Wade doesn't feel safe out there. What the fuck is wrong with everybody?
Yeah.
Said, why? He was blaming her for the kids. I said, well, what was he blaming her? What was he saying? And Stephanie just pretended like she didn't know. I think she was like, oh, so then later on, when everybody left, Ange left, Stephanie has a son left with him, and the guy I didn't know. I said, Cindy, why were the police here? And Hayden wasn't there when I was there. He was at Patty's. And she told me. He kicked my truck. He threw things out the window. He went crazy. And I said, why was he going crazy? And she said she told me a little different, and this is where Cindy's tricky. She said he was blaming Malaya for being out there and living with Daniel. And I know that. I know that she's trying to mislead me.
Right. He blamed her for a lot more because he, I believe, knew exactly what happened. And I think Hayden, he really liked Jack and Lily. So, he is
He
part of
did.
the couple.
And the
Yeah.
girlfriend, remember, the young girl that he was dating was often left with the kids because she was so young while they were going to take off on her. And she would be left to babysit the kids. And she really, um, there's another person who reached out to me and told me that the little girl was quite upset because she was close.
I'm going to put that out until the YouTube atmosphere, boss man. So, hey, Brandon, Bradley Wong wants to know who drives the black Honda Civic. Any ideas? Brad wants to know because he has to have a word with him. Why do you need to have a word with him, boss man? Did he drive on your lawn? You should go ask Cody, Haley's ex-boyfriend. Maybe it's his car. Maybe it's Haley's car. You wouldn't think it would be young Emily's. But I'm assuming the car belongs to one of the people who were driving it on Landsdown Road that day. So it only seems right that that one would think it could be Haley's or Haley's old boyfriend, Cody number 2, we call him.
To the kids and felt sorry for them and how they were treated. And
Yeah.
she tried to watch them as much as she could because at Patty's there was food and I knew they would be clean. She would make
Yeah.
somebody wash their face or Patty would go do it. And this is where I say that when Daniel left that day,
No, Robin,
he
they
got
didn't get
mad
back
at Mrs.
together.
P and said, "You don't have to listen to her." Malaya should have left with Daniel and left the kids there, and Patty would have figured out a way to take care of them. If she had to
Yeah.
pay somebody, do whatever.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
And
You see,
my thought is she should have called the RCMP, but older people like that don't want to involve the police. That's when I think she called Darren or Clown Man and
mm,
said, "Can you check into Malaya being out there?" And then when she suspected that Jack had marks on him and probably Lily, older people like her would want to not say to the police, but go check it out. And she probably asked Darren to go there and see if Malaya was okay and the kids. And remember when he publicly said he didn't want to get involved in their relationship?
mm, right.
But I think he's back talking to Patty again. It would not surprise me when Cindy's at work that Patty sneaks and calls him when she's had a few drinks. And I don't know
Yeah.
if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
You're talking about Darren, just to clarify.
Yes,
Yes,
because
my mind.
if he's involved, then he could persuade Patty, and it might be dangerous if she. I don't. I just don't think it's a good thing that he may be talking to her.
No, it's not. It's not. And he's desperate to get involved. And we saw that. I mean, in that video, I mean, the audio that Tim sent, where, of course, I was hoping he would send something for Malaya or Cindy, a recording, but he sent, Darren's desperate plea to him to get him back in touch with the people who are no longer talking to him. He's absolutely desperate to
Yeah,
be
but
at the
he's the
center.
kind of guy, Mike. He would
Mhm.
blackmail Patty.
Yeah, right. I can see that. I can definitely see that. So Patty, she's alone. She drinks a lot. She's old. I mean, not that old, but she's, up there. And, when you're that age, if you drink a lot, it can catch up with you. And she probably likes somebody to talk to. I don't know. And Darren
Yeah, she
takes
does.
advantage of that, you
Exactly.
know? So now we have, and again, Darren.
He's trying to get you think he would violate his very own bloodline? He's related to everybody in this situation, according to him. Just Janie, they were trying to avoid CPS. They were afraid the kids would say too much about their situation. A good observation thus far. Just a clapping seal. You heard about the young girl babysitter staying there and the brother Justin living there as well at the beginning. Yeah, there's been talk about it. There was talk about it. I agree. Maybe there's a lot more to that. I'm just trying to think about how that came through. So Anita went into great detail when we first met her about how their habit would be to get on the four-wheelers and, lock the kids away and go out overnight all fucked up and commit break-and-enters and robberies and things like this. That's where it came up as well. And I mean, if Emily was there, if we're going to say the same thing about Hayden in the Landsdown Road at 10:48 a.m. on May 2nd, we have to say that Haley's boyfriend, Cody, number 2, and probably Emily was there that Thursday night, early Sunday morning, and involved in whatever activity was going on there that Bradley Wong told police that he witnessed between those hours, and other people. So coming back to, maybe there's something to it. Maybe there's something to that. I want more evidence, more info.
Aaron is the one who keeps people quiet. He may be clown man to us, but to those people, some of them are intimidated by him. They are maybe even scared. I mean, the combination.
Not a babysitter. Well, I guess we're saying babysitter because what else would you call them? How else would they be of benefit to the family in that sense? Somebody else there that was watching the kids while Malaya was otherwise preoccupied. Just a possibility. I'm not arguing a certain point. I think that the term babysitter, Leslie, got misconstrued or interpreted that way rather than described that way. That's all.
Either.
Yeah.
I don't think Janie's been in any other shows since we had the argument, but I said stuff I shouldn't say.
Well, no, you did well. You did what you did because you were being attacked, and you had every right to say what you said.
I don't mean that. I don't regret. No, I mean,
Okay.
I shouldn't have said you're implicating yourself. I should let them implicate themselves.
Well, yeah. Of course, there were mistakes made, but that's how we learn. And I pointed out things that she hadn't answered to me or to others, things that she's avoiding. So I made it very, very clear the avoidances about the dog. She would have to address that if she ever comes back on. Because I pointed that out in my way to make very clear that among all the things that she said, the important things she still avoided. So when people say, oh, you know what, I'm here, I'm answering questions, I'm not afraid, I'm not hiding. Well, you're not hiding as a person maybe, but you are hiding the things that are important. People can give you the illusion or try to give you the illusion of being an open book.
That was one of my favorite arguments, Horsefly Homestead. Do you remember the argument of how Janie's trying to misconstrue people's minds by claiming, I am involved, but she's redefining exactly what the meaning of that is? We have to be clear. There is going to be the event that took the lives of Jack and Lilly, and then there's post-event, the cover-up, the accessories, the people who were pulled into this. But I understand what you're saying. If Janie played more of a leading role in what had happened to Jack and Lilly to potentially end their lives, is that what you're saying? Because she's got a massive role in everything else, because she is the alibi, right? Yeah, she was... she didn't really block. She just wasn't very... She was contrary to someone who's being concerned. She wanted to not let the cops go in and take a look at her trailer for whatever reason. That there was a reason there, and that answer is very interesting. Does it have something to do with the dog that keeps getting brought up? I don't know. Is there something more to it? But what she is, listen, she says that she heard them, but there's a reason why she is so adamant. If she just simply heard them, well, I'm not going to argue it like that. It's a way of distancing, saying you audibly heard something as opposed to visibly knowing and interacting with them are two different things. It wasn't exactly what the police were initially looking for. She was giving no, I didn't see them. She's not lying, but I heard them. And they have this, all of a sudden, they just hear the kids at a distance and they know the exact moment that things went silent, as though it just fucking happened. They're trying to ineffectively emphasize how quick everything happened, leading people to hopefully believe that somebody, some stranger came in and abducted both of them right under their noses. They absolutely horsefly. She was crying inappropriately with Justin. She lied about the dogs. Yeah, I'd be interested to know about that as well. But this crying and this sorting out why exactly she's crying just is a demonstration to everybody how desperate she is for you to be persuaded into her little fucking con job. This is nonsense. Any sane, normal adult would never, first of all, be acting like this if they didn't have something to do with whatever happened to Jack and Lilly.
But then, when you ask the right questions, they run away. And that's exactly what she has done.
She didn't come on there to answer your questions. She came on there to tell me.
She still avoided. So when people say, oh, you know what, I'm here, I'm answering questions, I'm not afraid, I'm not hiding. Well, you're not hiding as a person maybe, but you are hiding the things that are important. People can give you the illusion.
Oh, listen, I got to mention it, Radmilla. You certainly don't believe D&M both deceptive. Well, think of it. It's an extra mind fuck to the public, because when they've been presented something as fact, like Danny and everybody want to portray it as, people can't help but absorb, even if they don't believe it, absorb up at least a little bit that they do believe. So that you're already pulled into this big web of bullshit lies. Okay, there's nothing genuine about what it is that you're experiencing. And you get a good exercise in psychology, I guess, or in a human experiment, human engineering. So many problems arise because of discourse and people not knowing what to believe, so they turn themselves off when the obvious is right in front of them. They can't distinguish between the two because not everybody's up to what information is real and what's not real, what they want to believe. It gets extra difficult for the public. But all's not lost.
Or try to give you the illusion of being an open book. But then, when you ask the right questions, they run away. And that's exactly
Mike describes it so well. That behavior isn't just about Janie. It's about Jordan. He experienced it. We experienced it. The exact same type of behavior with Jordan. Of course, Durwood and Daniel. I mean, you can say that exact same thing about them all. What is it they're hiding? One would have to expect, when you get to know the truth, a little bit of it, a lot more of it opens up, implementing just how illegal everybody's, the greater circle, the inner circle's activities were, and how you can trace their activities to what ended up happening to Jack and Lilly. And everybody's going to go down for something. Everybody's going to be on the hook, perhaps. Maybe that's just a simple way of looking at it, but something's bonding everybody to this. Now, it appears to be a lot more than we initially thought.
There to answer your questions. She came on there to tell me to butt out and shut up.
Exactly. She had previously blocked me. She's on or came only on because of you. Absolutely. But after some time of letting her yell, I figured now I'm sorry. And this is not I did it without attack or anything. I said now it's time to talk about the dog. Now it's time to talk about Thursday night. And they don't want to talk about it. If they talk about Thursday night, they talk about it in a way like, well, we did this and this, and okay, finished. That's all there was. I'm sorry, but that's not all there was. You don't tell me what the all there was. You have to allow me to ask about details. I have to get in there. And the one comment that Daniel had made was, about that one officer. He talked about, oh, that officer was weird. He said, I look nice without my shirt and so on. It's not just what he said about Thursday. That's Daniel's exact words. It's not just about what he said about Thursday. The reason Daniel attacked that one officer is because that officer asked him questions about Thursday night. These people don't want to answer anything about Thursday night. So you can let them talk for 8 hours. But guess what? The moment the important questions, and I brought them up, this is exactly what we need to know more about. There need to be follow-up questions. Janie was already on the track of, I'm just going to go somewhere else and talk if you are not treating me nice, So I held back with a lot of different things that I wouldn't hold back otherwise, because I knew she would say, I prefer to have something else leak, even though she closed herself up to the discussion about the other dog and anything related to Thursday night. But you know what? It's not going to go away. Actually, the more time goes by and the less you're sidetracking with other things, the more I'm going to zoom in on Thursday night and the other dog. And that's because of you. That's because of you lying about the presence of the other dog and your avoidance about anything related to Thursday night. Let's see what else is here that you sent to me. Apparently, this is from I don't know. You had Ninchi up. And you,
Mike, also, if Justin was staying there or in his RV trailer that I was told, and sometimes in the main trailer house, where was Justin that night? Where was he on Thursday?
yeah, and especially.
Well, the law is going to treat them like, no matter what the event was, when they have proof enough to know that you've gone to the extent to cover up whatever it is that did happen, they're going to take that as just death. And even the charges that they bring to them at that time are going to mean life, even if you're an accessory to it, making everybody after the fact, like Janie, Malaya, and Daniel, equally culpable for the sentences that they would presumably go along with the charges, should they be found guilty in a court of law. But, all of this and the information that the public is talking about in relation to this case, you have to think that the RCMP Major Crimes Unit are all already on top of it and actively working on it. Not that I'm not saying that just leave it up to them, not at all. It means it's that much more outrageous and worth talking about. Like all of the something else happened from 2:30 p.m. on Thursday right through to 10 a.m. Something other than what Daniel and Malaya and Janie are saying and putting on record as their story happened. Something other. Ever since they came out on these interviews with the CBC, they've been contradicting themselves. And on top of that, look at how outrageous Daniel's behavior was and caught on cam in his little interviews, just the things that you could pick up that were obvious all along the way. Something else is fucking going on here. We know when we're being lied to, Malaya. You're all, you come up with the word sorrow. What happened to Jack and Lilly that brought upon all of that sorrow?
Since Malaya told you he was staying there at the time. So we need to know, Justin is somebody that should have taken a polygraph. I believe he did. He's somebody that the RCMP needs to revisit. And I don't know if they're going to do it or not, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm about de facto, meaning that I don't rely on the police work. I'm not going to say, oh, okay, they did this, they did. I'm done.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to say it. Mike is getting too cynical here. Mike, do you hear me? Anita, tell Mike he's being too cynical. It's just natural when your mind gets exhausted in that sense. It's natural. But listen, in this moment, Mike isn't distinguishing the difference between detachments and who's handling what here. It's not up to Pictou County, although they're not out of the loop, the Pictou County detachment of the RCMP that's going to solve anything or follow up. They might be there to take your statement or collect some evidence. Maybe they're trusted to do that if they're directed. But even there's questions within that. This is on to the major crimes unit. Why? Because it's a major crime. There is a major crime that's happened here. They've known it since the get-go.
Not handling it. They made mistakes from the very, very beginning, which is why.
So let's talk about those mistakes. What specifically do you feel that was a mistake? You can get a sense of for what it was, just, and Anita does, but she's no more special than anybody else. Really, what it is that we're looking at, they've already done the crime, cleaned everything up, made it look, and staged the scene, we'll say. It would have been nice. It would have been nice if they cleared what we now know as the scene, but I don't think it's gonna or would have made much difference because they still, thank you very much, Lindy, much love to you. They would have still have the same challenges with getting probable cause or reasonable, what do they call it in Canada? The equivalent to what probable cause in the States. It's the same thing. They still need the same things in order to build the case and have that probable cause, we'll just call it. It's the same thing, just a term different. So, in a scenario like this, no, not dope. In a scenario like this, there's not much more that the police could have done other than carry out and fulfill the obligations that came with the report. Even though it was false, you still have to go through all of you still have to go through the proper procedures in order to hopefully close this case out someday. But that's the one that still remains open. The only one that people seem to be focused on when there's so many other things going on. And one of those other things we're going on are what we're talking about here today as well. And Danny's SA charges. And there's other things going on. It's just confusing. It can get confusing. What would the police... Well, we like to think we know. I wish we got our hands on some body cam footage. That's what we really need in order. Like, there's no problem critiquing the police and their response, but really when you look at it, We've got no reason to be too hypercritical of them. Yeah, we don't like how the RCMP handle things publicly. No, I got no qualm with that. I got a problem too. They spend all of this time and money and effort on purpose to hide their interactivity in order to make it look a certain way for the public to maintain the status quo. And they put more money into that than they are putting into solving this case with investigators by way of payroll, let's say. That would be a problem I would get behind. You know, and that's essentially what happens because, well, it's very important how the RCMP handle things, considering how liberal Canada's justice system is in certain ways. Can it be abused, misused? Absolutely. Will it? Yep. Just like it has been. But it doesn't mean the whole system sucks. And there aren't people inside, and it doesn't have that don't have this on their priority. I believe that to be true. Fucking let me down there. Let me submit my resume. Let me get in there and straighten shit out. No, listen. I'm just saying that. That's just arrogant. I don't think that. And I think that's kind of when we be too cynical about the cops, like at face value, it's what we expect. Unfortunately, it's how the public is treated every single time. Don't expect to get any information about their investigation at any point in time. My problem with that now is we've got a public safety risk at hand here. I'm sure they've got an issue with it. We've got a problem with this crew and a group just based off of, well, again, what it is that they haven't been proven in front of a court of law. They have charges against him, but it goes far beyond that into killing these kids. But I mean, they have to be, given due process. There's exceptions to that. Like, I'd say that there's a huge risk to the public with Danny running around. Not so much now because he's got so many eyes on him. Everybody knows the story, knows who he is. Everybody in the area is a little bit more vigilant. It would be hard for Danny and Malaya to do the things that they're being alleged, having, they're being done or being engaged in. It'd be difficult for them to try to go out and do that at this point in time. Not that it's any more of a risk getting caught. It's just everybody else can identify them. They risk something a little bit more or a little different. Yeah, and there's surveillance going on, just a clapping seal. Yeah, no doubt. There's definitely a reason for the cops to run surveillance on them. Why wouldn't they be? I would think it probably looks after itself. The computer's looking at you. It's probably filled up with a bunch of keywords or actions, and it just gives you a highlight film at the end of the day. And, maybe it's not that nice. Maybe the guys don't know how to use it. It's too advanced. I doubt it.
We are still in this state. They warned Daniel about the cadaver dogs coming, so he had time to get rid of that one vehicle.
Sadly, to finish that off, this is unfortunately why caregivers falsely report their kids missing or abducted, if you will, I should say, in the first place. There's a certain chance that they take, a gamble that they take in something fucking up in the system that they can maintain and go on and fool and go on with their lives after, essentially they're really responsible for what happened to the children that they're falsely reporting missing. There's a gamble. There's a reason that they have to take a chance. There's a reason that they had to take a chance and call them the RCMP that day. They had that plan formulated. because it's a hell of a lot better than the alternative to them. And what that would entail being accountable for their actions or what happened, what the event was that took Jack and Lily's lives. Here's one. I thought about one that I noticed and I never noticed. Maybe they did do it and they didn't announce it. Was closing off the garbage, the Pictou County or surrounding recycling centers where everybody takes their garbage and looking through the garbage. Like, how could you not? Unfortunately, it's a sad thing to think, but regardless, anytime you get a missing child report such as this, that's bizarre that you can't find them and there's something definitely wrong with the story initially. How is it you can't do what they do everywhere else and shut down the garbage dump and go through and sort through the garbage that
law enforcement is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're dragging their feet. They're not doing their job. I wouldn't be doing all that I'm doing if law enforcement had done their job. But this is apparently you were talking with Wade on a call because, as I said, I recognize the image, what's in the image up there. And you had probably Ninchi up there or something you were listening to at the time. And I don't know was this a comment that was made on that channel, on Ninchi's channel, or is it something? It says,
well, it just looks like an inconsistent story. Maybe she just messed up her dates. Horsefly. We don't mention her here, by the way.
This girlfriend of Hayden's, whom was kept against her will and kept drugged up by DM, which would be Daniel. It is in the court records. Hayden was charged with unlawful confinement. No word about Daniel. Her mother shared this info in May or June. She said they had to get her back. So if not the underage girl, then someone else. How often has he been doing this? There's a lot of stuff. These guys were busy. You know, just because they were not working doesn't mean they were going. Yes.
That is where I know that the issues started with Daniel being in Mrs. house. That happened at Mrs. P's house, and that's where Mrs. P would have said, okay, the RCMP are coming here now. Stuff's happening here, because she was probably up in bed when that occurred and didn't know about it. And when the RCMP started coming to her house and then the neighbors asking her, that's where I believe the tension came between her and Daniel. She probably told Cindy and Malaya she didn't want him there anymore.
Yeah, and the question is, where was
Seahorse Fly. Sounds like MBM shielded metal from them too. I was wondering about her trying to do that just as a, it's the least she could do. It's what would at least be expected. What would be expected is Malaya would never be around in the first place. What's keeping her there? I wonder. But I agree with shielding her from the more immediate, like she's using Meadow as a shield in that sense. But she certainly wasn't shielding or helping detoxify this environment. It's a highly toxic environment that was affecting Jack and Lily. They were failing to thrive.
was Malaya? What did Malaya do? And the question is also, where did Malaya and Daniel really meet? I don't know if you want to get into this, but everything is on the table right now, people. Everything. So, and Anita is going to talk about whatever she feels most comfortable about revealing. But so let me go to the next image.
When you're on drugs, she might have been part of too.
Yeah. Who knows? There's something really wrong with Malaya, in my opinion.
Upstairs in bed?
Yeah,
Mike,
good
I'm going to
question.
go out and come back in.
Okay. So let me see the next image here. I'm not going by in order at all. I'm going all over the place. I'm sharing it as I got it. I don't know what this is. This is, I guess, a post from somebody unnamed.
All right, here we go.
But again,
So this was what in my video I was asking Mike and Anita to talk about, hopefully in their next live stream. So it's a lot more clear. But we're going to piece it together here because it's going to get us into talking about what goes on at the lumber mill.
The owner of that group, he supposedly told Daleen who these anonymous posters were. And that owner of that group, Jack Behar, he also, adhered to that so-called cease and desist by, he wanted to delete his group. Not the brightest light in the sky. Justin D and Ashley and Tanisha just saying all from the same city. I got the photos. Whoever else, while also creeping Leo's list all night and day for himself.
Ashley and Tanisha. I feel that this goes along with some pictures, doesn't it? This is an old one. I'm sure that we've seen this before somewhere. Ashley and Tanisha. It sounds like names that you would list on Leo's list. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a rumor that...
You want a girlfriend? Hey, Danny, you want a girlfriend experience?
Malaya and Daniel met through Leo's list. That I'm going to... well, I'm hinting at it right now, but I'm not going to get as deep into it as maybe I should, at least not right now. And unless Anita wants... Okay, cool. Unless Anita wants to talk about this particular post right here, I'm going to go move on right now. See, guys, I'm doing this I have no coffee.
What is that one, Mike? I can't see it. Is that, I see vaguely.
Really?
Wait, let me get my glasses.
No. No such thing as hiring adult dancers, Stacia. You think Danny's into the arts? Yeah. Why don't you call Ashley and Tanisha for $150 per hour? They'll perform Swan Lake for you. No, dude, these are sexual services. Oh, that's good though.
I don't know. I'm making it bigger for everybody here. I guess this is a post from...
Oh, yeah, he's really ripping off his customers. The guys expected Swan Lake, and all they got was the bird dance. Yeah, you're just naming it dancers, Stacia. I know what you're talking about. We're talking about the same damn thing, though. Why don't you just call it for what it is? You're selling ass. You're selling your panani. The oldest tradition, or the oldest profession. So they say. It's not, by the way.
Facebook group, that idiotic Facebook group, where people have their fake account, and absolutely idiotic. I was there in the beginning. I posted there once in a while, but then I realized my time is not well spent over there, because when you talk to a lot of yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I gotta think how I can say this and dance around it.
So I got an answer to that, Raven. Raven says, in the photo where Justin is on the ATV, he's looking into the distance. He can't make eye contact with the person taking the photo. Why? Well, because it's performative. It's definitely something that's performative. But if you ask Janie, remember, he was there crying about his dog that died some other time. Like she didn't even fucking have to put any thought into that. It's ridiculous. Don't be silly like that, Janie. That's foolish. But, any answer is at least an answer, I guess. Man, oh man. Oh yeah, the whole crying spiel is just icing on the cake. It just goes along. Think about how they fit that into their alibi, though. Like all of a sudden, then I was over here crying. Like, why is crying even coming up in any sort of alibi in the first place? It's what I'm getting at is it's a bullshit story. That's not being told well. You're a shitty storyteller, even though you tell a lot of stories.
Safe.
Mhm.
Hey, I'm gonna read. It says, I don't know. I assume it's Justin. And then the D is Daniel. And then Ashley and Tanisha.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Horsefly, the ATV allegedly being clean, and yeah, it was clean in the video. Priorities that day. It just fits in with a broader pattern is why we keep bringing things like that up. There's a broader pattern here, with many things. They all point to one thing. Wait a second. Let me tell you exactly why I'm crying. Fuck. Imagine even having the need to do that. The only time that you have a need to tell somebody why you're over emotional, doesn't it go without saying usually? Unless you've got a narrative to push. No, let me tell you what it was. I was crying because this is why. If I'd actually got up and moved my fat ass, I would have prevented whatever happened to Jack and Lilly. What a nonsense statement. Why? What happened to Jack and Lilly there, Janie? That's a slice of leakage in of itself there.
I don't know who they are, but allegedly those people were on that Leo's list. Leo's list is like a place where you can sell yourself for,
Yeah.
I guess, sex things or whatever.
Yeah.
But I believe that's where he took photos and I believe allegedly a tape and tried to sell it at work. And somebody bought.
So you're saying that Danny was up on Leo's list selling niche, we'll call it, very niche videos. His grape content. Danny was making movies. He's like the Steven Spielberg of grape videos. He is. That's what you're making it look like. So allegedly, we'll say, that's really interesting. And this is being tied to work. Danny's, it's so hard to believe, but I'm open to anything. It's so hard to fucking believe that a person is going and making like all of these illegal videos that that would get you busted, and he doesn't give a shit. He's out there selling it on something on the natural, like open web, not the dark web, where he can be, where you should go, where you could, get your name not attached to everything, get arrested and thrown in the clink. It would seem like the exact wrong thing to do. It would seem like the dumbest fucking thing to do. And he's going to work and he's shopping and he's like a door-to-door salesman. He's trying to pawn off, brag with all of these grape videos or particular ones to the boys at work. Well, that happens, but it seems like so fucking unbelievably crazy. It might just be exactly what Danny did. Like, I can't decide. Like, it's so fucked. But think again what it is that we know about this idiot. And what he's trying to get away with. What he's trying to pull here. So I'm still very open to hear what Anita has to say. I love it. But it's the point that she's bringing up. She keeps talking about the association to Leo's list. And there's got to be something to that. No, not, and admittedly, she's not going around telling you what it actually is. She's trying to figure it out as well. So we're all kind of in the same boat. Maria, Daniel's seriously crazy and very narcissistic. Well, that's just a label. That's just your mind not wanting to dissect all of his behavior. Daniel's seriously crazy. No, he's seriously, or was seriously, hooked on the Tina, the Jib, Crystal. The substances, especially that one, makes you crazy. Daniel is just an encapsulated, hurt little boy that can't fucking grow up. He's just a little bitch, okay, at this point in time. Not crazy. We got him pegged. We've been talking about him and learning about him for the past year.
This tape, and one of the people who saw the tape didn't think it was funny. They thought it was gross that he was doing that. And I believe that's what may have led to new evidence without saying the people,
Digital warrants.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got the photos that he has passed around. This person is saying, I got the photos that he has.
Now, see, this snapshot, I've got the photos that he's passed around to all his buddies at work and whoever else, while also creeping Leo's list. What does that mean? So I got the photos that he's passed around to all his buddies at work. I wonder where, I wish you'd just, I guess, fuck, you can't, can you? Because it'd be evidence, perhaps. She may be onto something, and she's attributing this to being some of the evidence against Daniel in this current SA assault and forcible confinement charge. So what do y'all sell on Leo's list there, Danny? Dirty panties? A man just can't make an honest living nowadays, I guess. Fucking Leo's list. They've got to be going through problems as well, I guess. I would think. Because they shut down Backpage, and Craigslist doesn't do it as much anymore. They don't have the personals anymore.
Around to all his buddies at work. Okay. And whoever else, while also creeping Leo's list all night and day for himself also. So this is, I guess, about Daniel. He's sharing these pictures at work. So there was a tip that the RCMP received. And this may have something to do with the charges against him that he's facing right now.
Mike, when I saw the detectives in January, I told him. He said, "What do you?" I said, "You need." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Leo's list." I said, "Go to the work of the mill and find the guy." There's supposed to be 3 of them, but there's one that didn't like thing that they were passing around. Maybe I shouldn't.
So hold on. And I guess I'm making note of it now, just because there's going to be obvious future episodes coming up. We can relate back to this point. So this little hook that Anita's presenting, and Leo's list being associated with these photos passed around to all his buddies at work. I'm going to say right now that it falls in line with a certain block of information that I got here up in my mind, given to me by a certain person that I trust. And that particular block of information does have everything to do with the Sawmill. And with that, I would expect the boys at work. So there's a bit of a connection in my mind to thinking that there's something worth looking into. There's something more, and there's something to what Anita is presenting. We just need to figure out the details.
Even see tape or allegedly the photos. I said, or go to the work and just ask around. Somebody will tell. And that's where you're going to find more information. Because if he was trying to sell tapes or photos, they're going to tell on him if they didn't like it.
Right.
That was in January.
In January of 2025, right?
Well, remember, okay, I'm going to back up. Oh, I got to be careful.
Gotcha.
How can I say this? Okay, I'll say it this way. I knew in December that, remember, I stopped talking to Cindy around December 16th on
Yeah.
my own accord. I pulled away because
Yeah.
she never mentioned to me that Malaya went into the psych ward. And it wasn't because of that. It was because
No, it's not fair, Michelle. Anita's not saying tapes and photos are of MBM or the kids. Nobody's saying what the tapes are of. Nobody's saying. They're just saying that the activity, the behavior, it's going on. But they're not suggesting any of it is Malaya or Emily or anybody else directly yet. Believe me, we'll tell you when we can. But it would be hard for you as a person at home not to take into consideration that possibly Malaya and the kids are within this block of Danny's fantastic cinematography. You know what I mean, Michelle? It's just important that you can distinguish it at this point in time.
because things happening that I heard, and I knew something
Clear
weird
as
was
mud.
happening. And then I don't want to. Somebody told me who was at the house when I was there that the detectives had come to speak to them, and she hinted they're going to come and see you. I know they are, and I said okay. And then she mentioned too about this, and oh, how can I say this? Mm,
You don't have.
oh no, I can't say it.
Okay. You don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to. That's not a problem.
Okay, I get.
You know, it would make sense why old Danny and Jordan had to take off of stress leave. They both are off on stress leave. The boys at work stress them out now. They got all kinds of in-house drama going on due to Danny. That kind of shit in the workplace gets around pretty quick. Like, it would blow my mind that somebody even would risk that. But here we are. I got to remember who we're dealing with. We're dealing with Danny Martell and realize where we are at this point in time. It's feasible. And I got a feeling that we're going to be saying that a whole lot about just how crazy and fucked up Daniel's behavior is.
I can say it like this. No, I can say it like this. Because I don't care about Daniel. Danny Boy was known around. Oh, remember he had another girlfriend, and she shared the messages of the. I guess I will say the nature. He liked to confine to them that were about power and control. So that's that I assumed. No, I can't say that. They know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
And I think the police found I think they got a hold of whatever it was they needed to get a hold of. I think, oh, can I say that? Okay, allegedly, all the new evidence that's being brought forward, I think people have, I hope they found the people from the mill. Let's put it that way, especially the guy that didn't think it was funny.
Right.
Well, I mean, definitely feasible. It's an interesting thought. I can't wait to find out. We're going to have to wait till after trial. Oh, it's going to be exciting.
And who knows? I mean, what the nature of the videos was, not just about sex, but about, the type of stuff that Daniel has at one point expressed to one of his girlfriends that he seems to be into.
What do you think they're making mukbangs?
You know what I mean? There are certain types of tapes that, it's all about the niche. Let's say it like that. You know what I mean? In that business, in the porn business. So.
But Mike, that makes when I
What
took
are you
a
talking
little bit
about?
of
He's got it
time,
in a
I was
genre.
reading about meth.
Yeah.
There was a thing, and you can go. The one guy said some people never recover fully.
Yeah.
That would go along.
Yeah, Robin, the problem with all of that is, yeah, of course they've got a chipper, but the problem with insinuating that a chipper is going to get rid of your problems when it comes to bodies, that, it might if you're watching, what is that movie, Fargo? But in reality, this is a busy place. The Sawmill is running every day. People are there every day, and the stink is going to be outstanding. You're not going to go and make yourself a bigger mess going and running a bunch of bodies through a chipper thinking that you're going to get rid of any problem. You've just chipped your problem and put it all over the fucking place. In Fargo, they were frozen, and you could contain the mess, right? Here, in this situation, it would have blood and organic material would be all over Hell's Half Acre around that yard. You wouldn't be in control of where it went necessarily. Maybe, I guess, in theory, depending on what it looked like, you could put it in a barrel. But if you had access to the barrel, you probably wouldn't go and run it through something like a chipper that you couldn't clean. If you rip down a machine to properly clean it, takes a significant amount of time to do it properly. It's not like it's something that's easy to do and just get away with. It's a great thought, but there's easier ways to dispose of packages, especially that size. What makes it such an appealing tragedy or alternative to the perpetrator, we'll say, is the fact that a 4 and a 6-year-old are small enough to handle and hide and travel around with really much not noticed. Not saying that that's what they were doing, but it's not a real problem. You don't have to deal with the 6 foot, 200-pound man over your shoulder trying to lug up dead weight all over the fucking place. They're used to carrying around the kids and throwing them around, handling them in that sense. It would be pretty easy for them just to package them up and put them in a garbage, a bin, even right beside the wood. It's not stupid, Robin, don't worry about it. But right beside the wood mill, the sawmill, there is, if you remember, we looked at between that place and Jordan's house and Darren's former house, and he's back there again. As he moved back in, we don't know, is a yard where Danny took his Dodge Journey to get crushed. They have a car crusher, salvage yard, a small yard there, and they've got a bunch of waste bins, which, whether or not it's just a depot or they sell them or make them, I don't know, but they're going to have garbage bins there. So there's access. There would be a place right there that could be a place to, in the moment, get rid of your problems, and hopefully things get picked up even at work in the garbage bin, like at the sawmill. So that's what worries me when I think about them not, at least they didn't make an announcement of it, meaning the RCMP, talking about closing down the garbage collection and searching the dump. Maybe they did. I'm not I can't say it. Usually they make that announcement. Usually it's not really a secret. It's part of the process. It's part of the emergency in that sense. Think about how long, what was Lilly Simon in Savannah, Georgia. Think about what they did to recover that poor child's body. And the same sort of bullshit. She didn't know what happened. Somebody came in and abducted her child call. Lilani Simon. Listen, you call me and I'm the cop and I come there and we can't find the kids. You tell me you just saw them 17 minutes ago and I don't see them with their earshot. I already know there's a problem. I'm not saying that the cops aren't any different. They still have to go through protocol. They have procedure. They've got to carry on with the call. All while, believe it or not, this is what everybody out here in the public seems not to recognize. At the same point in time, there's automatically a secondary investigation going on that's really goes alongside what we know as this call to the RCMP, this open case of missing Jack and Lilly. There's a parallel investigation that goes on into every one of those sons of bitches. But sadly, I'm only sharing concerns because we don't know that information at this point in time. It's too early in the investigation. I'm disappointed that they haven't been able to move on anything. It doesn't mean that they're not going to. They just have to go about it in a very frustrating way. See, or in Orson Welles. Same scenario. But it's not impossible. They're not getting away with this. And I'm going to remind you primarily because we're all out here pointing out how obvious it is. It's just a matter of time before they get all of the information they need to do this, bring charges against them the right way. Certain things have to happen in order for them to develop enough probable cause to keep them. We're not going to be able to recognize what should have happened until far after, unfortunately. And all of this time in between are what Daniel, Malaya, and Janie were banking on with that bullshit story. This is the fog that they want and the obscurity they want to lay in. And no, Mike, my man, I love this guy, Mike, but Pictou County RCMP probably don't have anything to do with any investigation at this point, except in a passive manner. Everything will be dealt with by the MCU, major crimes. And what that is called is case building, in my opinion. You could look at it as it's case building.
Along with the cocaine and the meth.
We don't really have to wonder where the guilty parties are in this circumstance. We just can't figure out how many are involved. And they should probably get all of these things in line before they go forward with anything. It just, the more that we discover, the more that we should be able to recognize and understand how intensive and how much work is ahead of the RCMP or how much they're engaged in. It's not just an easy Daniel and Malaya, Janie scenario when we start to take into consideration what Brendan witnessed. The separate sounding cars that Bradley talked about. We're just starting to understand the inner circle in that sense. And I can't wait until we fucking have something to hold over Darren Geddes and that freak Kent. And I know it has everything to do with you guys loving children, if you will. Mark my words. These freaks, you can see them a mile away. But these are the bad types. These are the malevolent types. Maybe Danny's niche is certain people that have a fancy for particular types of CSAM. Maybe that's in his arsenal as well. Maybe he has a section there in his little blockbuster in his mind. Oh, Danny. Oh, shit. Danny loves to put everything on film. Well, something got him caught here. Something's got him up shit creek with these charges.
The
Together.
ways that, or even the violence that you want to, like, I never tried cocaine. Said it makes you feel like you're invincible. It looked awful. And I say it was meth because behavior he displayed. Even like Cindy told me, he would come to Patty's and then go hide in the woods for a while. Like, you do strange things. It's like,
So, Anita, you're talking about Danny's being high. See, this, when they call a drug like the math, Tina, the jib, that is a dissociative. And Daniel is demonstrating himself disassociate from the reality because he would rather go and get high in that time and do something else. It's a dissociative. It's also known as a divorce drug. And what Wayne observed with Danny acting funny, as we like to call it, with him coming over on Easter and going out and spending all of that time in the woods, is just Danny spending some time with his beloved math pipe out there formulating up some equations. That's what he's doing. You know, that's just an effect of the substance that he's on directly. Just like he turns into a chronic masturbator. He's probably smoking it in his own bathroom, just pounding away for like 45 minutes at a time, an hour at a time. I'll be out in a second. Oh, it's a big one.
something happens in the brain with meth.
Right. And
And I think it makes people sexual or whatever you call it.
Great. Okay. Sorry, I'm getting some messages here. I gotta attend to
I forgot
something.
too. I didn't know how to say it. There's dark web pages too that you can buy, like, I guess, like, I don't know if I could say that. Violent acts like of sex.
Yeah. Exactly, Kai. Exactly, people. So there's a possibility that the charges against Daniel have something to do with what was seen on those tapes, and there are certain types of fantasies that people man, I need to find.
Like a rock and roll fantasy?
I'm not comfortable talking about certain things, man. I'm not repressed or anything.
Spit it out.
It's like, how do I say this in a digestible manner? RAPE set fantasies. You know what I mean? Some is staged, but some is not.
Yeah, Michelle.
Okay.
Michelle, you got it right. That's pretty much what happens.
So let me keep it like that, because
It's it's not the sex, it's about the fear and the power and the control.
it's about putting fear into the victims and enjoying the fact.
Yeah, that too, but it's going to be for money. Danny will be doing all of this because there's a monetary, he's associated money to doing this, not just because he's a connoisseur. He some way has wormed himself into making money off of this, or else he wouldn't be bragging to all his buddies or up on Leo's list. So he's got to be doing something that has to end with dollar signs, hopefully. You should have just got a YouTube channel and did some like prank videos.
fact that they're fearful. That's part of it. It's a lot of things. It's about sex. It's about power. It's about control. It's about a lot of different things. Combination of things. But it's something that people. Some people are into specifically. There's a market for it. Let's say it like that. And I mean, we're all adults here.
Yeah, but it seems to me that we have a pattern here. We have a lot of monetary value or associating sex with money somehow throughout this story. Not just this one, but through Wade's statements, through eyewitness accounts. There's something else going on here sexually with this relationship. And it has to do with, well, making money, I would expect. Danny seems to be allegedly all wrapped up and involved in Leo's list. Well, that's the reason why he would be on there, not as a person, not as a person like a consumer, but a person who's selling it or posting false advertisements in order to set up certain rendezvous that he then turns on film and then turns into money. And that would consume his entire day. It would never stop. That would show up in his pattern of behavior electronically, nonstop. You'd be able to go and get all of that information, you would think, forensically.
And we know how the world works, and we know what's out there. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So how did Daniel and Malaya...
Well, listen, I know why Danny says that, Robin, even though it's not true and laughable. Because when you abuse a substance for so long, especially when it comes to a heavy narcotic, you build a tolerance to it. Okay? So it's no different than oxys or getting hooked on any pain pills or Vicodin or things like that. Meth in that sense is no different. Like pretty soon you need to match your former high just to not make yourself sick anymore. That's how your system gets. You need to take it in order to come back to at least homeostasis or how your body feels normal. That's all it is. That's what he's describing. Like, math makes Danny feel normal. Well, it makes you feel different and better than you did before. But that's not saying that you're normal to begin with. That's just ignoring what was affecting you to begin with. That's just a stupid way that an addict justifies it to themselves. They sell it to themselves first, right? And that's how he sells it to himself. No, your entire problem is because you're hooked on that shit. You need to get back sober, homeostasis, not stay high and just take more.
Actually really meet? That's my question I'm going to put out there right now without going into deeper detail. But there is now, I want to share this next one. And this is about Malaya's brother Hayden was charged when an underage girl was confined and abused.
It doesn't get much worse for your system than mathematics.
In the house. That would be Patty's house. This is the missing piece to what I shared earlier. That's going back to 2021 and 2022, 4 years ago. Oh, Hayden would have been young, 15. But, there is so much, man. The deeper you dive into these people's lives, it's an avalanche. It's not isolated incidences. It is so much that it's a lifestyle for these people. They have their lifestyle. Trust me. Let's go to the next one.
To be fair to Hayden, if he only drank and smoked weed, and then this guy comes around and has this new drug, cocaine, and he's never tried it, I'm not making excuses, but because Hayden's young and he tried it and got on it, then that would explain the difference in his behavior, because he was always kind of a soft, loving boy. And when I saw him and hadn't seen him in a while, he was completely different.
Right. And you know what? When people often stay stuck in the time. I said before, a lot of Danish language is like junior high language. You know what I mean? That's probably when he started, and when his brain sort of is stuck in this type of demeanor. You know what I mean? When people start taking meth at a very early age, it's they stop developing. You know, they are stuck in that type of.
So what you're explaining would be a form of encapsulation. So that goes, it's worth mentioning what you're actually doing to your body when you're taking meth. And it's no different than the effects of, it's no different than what we described the effects of toxic stress psychologically on children, in that their flight or fight is constantly triggered, and you have the release of cortisol and dopamine, and they're unregulated. So what you're essentially doing to your body is traumatizing it. And that's your high, specifically with meth. All right. So when Mike describes them as being encapsulated in that sense, that's the traumatic event is the time in which you spent abusing the narcotic. That's the traumatic event. So you're not too far off in your, hypothesis. The encapsulation and the trauma associated with the encapsulation is the abuse of the substance. And of course, you could probably go back, not probably, but you can go back even earlier in his life to what brought him to substance abuse in the first place.
Of mode, a lot of people.
If you want to get all Sigmund Freud on it.
Language that he used even in private messages, I want to rub you up, I want to rub you down, or whatever he said to this girl. It's kind of like, gosh, man. It's like, how old are you? 13, 14? You know what I mean? Okay, let me see what else I missed here. This is from the discussion about this, but there was something else that I hadn't gotten to, I think. And yeah, steal, fraud, abuse. Do you want to talk about this particular house, yes or no, in public? Oh, what's about the car? This car, you want to say anything about it?
I just wanted to show that those were black vehicles. There's so many different things out there. Blue, somebody said it was green. I just like to say, well, there's two black vehicles there. Isn't that the minivan in the front of it?
The one in the front here, what is a Nissan? A black Nissan?
No, the one in front of that one.
Yeah, it's like an SUV, right? Like a black SUV.
That's the minivan.
Yeah, black minivan.
That's the one I think he crushed, along with the red car.
So this is in front of Daniel's house? Yeah, this is the trailer, right? Got it.
Yep. That's,
Okay.
I went back because there was things that bothered me.
Put your damn glasses on, because that's an Escalade. That's Danny's Escalade. That's not a minivan. Okay. So I don't know where you're going with this minivan, but that's Danny's Escalade he smashed up.
The vehicles were gone, and the camera. There's one camera on the side of the trailer thing, and there's one by the door. On the news, when I was looking one day on one of the news, the two cameras were gone. I don't know if the police took them or they took them off.
Okay. So, yeah. Do you want me to share the pictures of the house that you sent me earlier? Yes or no? I can't hear you.
It's
Okay,
up to
sure.
you.
So Anita's going to tell us the significance of what I'm about to share with you guys. There are 3 images you sent to me, and I get the good one first. Can you see what I'm sharing?
Yeah. That's the farmhouse.
Is that the one? Okay. Ah, crap. I didn't hear you.
So
Try
I
again.
disconnected. That,
Okay.
hold
No
on,
problem.
Mike. Oh, this is frustrating.
No problem. Yeah, a little distorted, but I heard you loud. You may just put on your Fran Drescher voice and just be real loud. Everybody doing okay, guys? I like these late nights, by the way, when people are about to go to sleep, and it makes it easier to digest things when I think, okay.
So that's the day I decided with Cindy. I said, let's go out there, show me this place, and I want to see him. And,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't tell anybody. Malaya was not at the house then. The baby was gone by then.
Mm-hmm.
The searchers were no longer out there. Trying to remember the exact day. I'd have to look through my phone. But we went out there. That's the day that I spoke to Daniel in the driveway when he was fixing the fence. He had a beer in his hand, and he
Mm-hmm.
told me that later on somebody must have told him I was out there, or they told him because he thought I was a reporter. That's when he asked me, "Are you here about the kids?" And I said, "What kids?" And that we went. I said, "Cindy, show me the school," and she said she didn't know what school. And I said, "Well, there's got to be only one elementary school out here." I Googled it, elementary school, Salt Springs. And we went up that way. And I said, Cindy, ask.
See what I
The
mean?
messenger.
This is what was driving me crazy earlier on in that first video. So I hope that hopefully Anita's nice enough to go and talk about it later on. Hopefully tonight.
Asked her, and she didn't know we were out there. She didn't know I was with Cindy. And I had gone home to my own home on the other side of Halifax and went back to Cindy's that day and said, "Come on, Cindy, let's go out there." And Cindy hid in the back seat of my car. And when we got at Farmhouse, I said, "This got to be it." Cindy wouldn't get out of the car. She didn't want me to get out. And I got out and looked around. I won't say what I found because I think that would be sensitive.
Yeah.
So
If it goes,
we're missing a major part of the story here, not to shit all over it. I mean, you Anita, you said you didn't say why you were going to this farmhouse to begin with and what brought you to there. I was under the assumption you were talking about the Gairloch Road. But how this farmhouse comes into play was not clear. I think that part got cut out.
goes to a trial, they
Mm-hmm.
might call me on those things.
Mm-hmm.
But there was things that could be connected that
Yeah.
is not good. They're not good. It's not good.
Right. So there's a tip that
And
Malaya.
I did call. I need to say that. I didn't leave. I called the detective right away, told him where I was. He told me to get back in my car. He told me to go by the store or I could leave. I said no, because I don't want someone to come take some of the things I found.
And I told him I'll go wait by the school. And he said, okay. And they called me when they were close. And then we just saw them. I waved and we left.
Right. Gotcha. And I
And
will show
Cindy
you.
became visible. She was upset.
Yeah. She, so Anita got the tips from
Freaking
Malaya,
out.
but Cindy didn't think it was a good idea to follow up on anything.
No, she
Cindy,
told me, no, he's going to come. What if I said, he doesn't know who I am. I said,
right.
he can't see you. My windows are tinted. Stay in the back. I said, he doesn't know that I'm lost still. And and my friend used to live in this old house. I go, if he pulls up on the ATV, I'm not scared of him. What's he going to do?
And you said that there's a pipe,
Or I could back in my car.
right? And the pipeline leads right there.
Oh, so where you see that house, I probably could do that Google Earth or Google see that house.
Yeah.
When I can't make it, you have to when behind that blue truck is like a dirt thing, like a dirt little parking spot, and back of it, I went around the back and Cindy said, look, and I said, yeah, look at the marks. 2 ATVs were here because they had different tires. And
Yeah.
she said, that's the trail. And I said, does that go to the pipeline? She said, yes. I said, oh, I said, well, we got here in about 18 minutes, 20 minutes. I said, they could go through the woods faster, probably. And
Yeah.
that's what freaked her out. She heard the ATVs. And I said, just stay in the car then.
Yeah. So let me see the other pictures real quick, just in case there's something. And I'm going to show, so it's close to, I don't have the exact location, but it's close to the Salt Springs Elementary School, right? What is the other house that you sent me? You sent me like, is that a business? I shouldn't post the business, right?
That's the store. It has a
Okay.
little liquor store in it, ice cream
Yeah.
shop. That was just by fluke. When I made the turn at I have to admit, don't ever. Now I can go there once, but don't send me directions the way I can't tell you how I get places, but I get there. I am horrible with directions.
Mm.
We own GPS,
Mm-hmm.
and I turned the store just to stop. And I said, that must be the house. I wanted to see the school. We went up by the little school, which is up
Yeah.
the road in Salt Springs there. And then I said, Cindy, we're going to ask Malaya. I said, she goes, you ask her. So I said, Malaya, I'm by the store. Is that house right there? She said, yeah. I said, oh, okay. And she said, are you she said, oh, are you, I think she said, are you at my mom's or something? I could tell she was happy. And Malaya talks louder when she's drinking. I think she was out, well, I know she was on a date with that other guy. And she didn't know I was with Cindy.
Right. Give me 1 second. I can post businesses, right? I can post them. They
Yeah,
don't
I
have
can't
any.
see why not. It's public information. It's not
Okay, so
anything.
this is the business here. And
So see there, go on the side and make it bigger. I'll show you. I went in there on the side. Go on the side.
right or left? Left?
Yeah, well, go left, but past the ice machine.
Okay, wait 1 moment. I have to, yeah, here.
Yeah, see, in there. You can drive in there. I drove in behind those bushes, and those bushes was I'm gonna say it. Well, 2 bags. I won't say the exact thing. It was 2 bags. And around the other bushes, I found a bag, a white bag, and it was new. You could tell there was old cans there and new cans. And I found new cans of beer, a monster drink, a meth pipe.
Holy fuck. I know, I'm confused too. as to why this is fucking relevant. But I mean, holy Christ, you should come into the city and take a look in some of the alleys, plastered with needles and syringes, things broken. How come out here in the middle of nowhere are you attributing something to Jack and Lilly in this sense? So you can see, and I know it's because of her messed up audio that we're missing something there, but I'm just playing it through regardless. I'm not, I'm eager to find out the information, but we have a difficulty. There seems to be a disconnect somewhere, and it happened in your Wi-Fi.
And then the items that I found.
Yeah, gotcha.
And what happened now, I know what happened now. At that time, I didn't think Cindy was involved, or I didn't that she.
So it sounds like Malaya has told Cindy something that came up in conversation. Do I understand that correct? So the reason that you're out here is because of some piece of information that Malaya stated. You called it a tip. Why would anybody be listening to a tip from Malaya? Maybe you were, because at the time, like you say, you didn't think that they had anything to do with it. You were naive at that moment. That's kind of what I'm gathering is the information she's expressing. I still have no idea about this particular house and why Malaya would bring it up to you. Why is it a tip in that sense? What is it about it that makes this place a tip, even if it was coming from an unreliable individual like Malaya?
But what I thought was she was hiding something. I called Jamie earlier and told him that I was going to go out there. And he said to me, his exact words were, I don't trust her. But at that time, I still trusted her. And what I think occurred is Wade left to dead, like that I told Wade he's not safe. And I did say, Wade, if Cindy's covering for Malaya, she's involved.
Yeah. Can you guys tell
And
how
then,
common? Yes.
sorry, then she went, because she was alone at the house, then she went over Cheryl's with Malaya, and that was Cindy's big mistake, because she must have went over there and told them what I did. And then
Right.
after that, that's where, and even now, they're going to call me and threaten me again.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So maybe the answers to the question I just brought up, Anita's unsure of. But what she does know is when she went over to Cheryl's and everybody, people were acting different, and things started up with Anita in the sense that she was receiving threats in that sense. Let's play that back again. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Okay, wait 1 moment. I have to. Yeah, here.
Yeah, see, in there, you can drive in there. I drove in behind those bushes that she. But what I thought was she was hiding something. I called Jamie earlier and told him that I was going to go out there. And he said to me, his exact words were, I don't trust her. But at that time, I still trusted her. And what I think occurred is Wade left to dead, like that I told Wade he's not safe. And I did say, Wade, if Cindy's covering for Malaya, she's involved.
Yeah. Can you guys tell
And
how
then,
common? Yes.
sorry, then she went, because she was alone at the house, then she went over Cheryl's with Malaya, and that was Cindy's big mistake, because she must have went over there and told them what I did. And then
Right.
after that, that's where, and even now, they're going to call me and threaten me again.
Yeah. You see, I hope not, because that's why I want all of this stuff out there already. I want to make sure that people understand why Anita is being threatened more than anything. And the more they decide to do that, the more we're going to expose, because I've said it before, the police, I don't like how they handled their talks with Anita when she was being threatened and followed and everything else. You know, she put herself in danger because she wants to solve the case, but they haven't done their part. And I doubt that they've done a great job following up on her tips, on any of them. So for what it's worth.
Well, I said to Cindy, even and to the detectives, there could be anything in that house. I don't know, because at that time I didn't know where the kids were. I didn't know what happened. I said, you got to check this house. You got to check what I found. He said, where are you right now? Because at that time, and I'll say the detective's name, it was Jordan. And he slipped me a card in my pocket that time with his number. And I said, Jordan, I said, Cindy was in the car. I was outside the car and I went to the other side of the house. I said, I'm at this house and Cindy doesn't want me to call. He said, where are you? I said, I don't know. I said, I'm by the Salt Springs School. He goes, okay. I said, there's a country store. I said, I told him the name of the store. He said, give me a minute. He goes, okay, I know exactly where you are. And I said, I found some things that could be connected. He said, get back in your car. I said, I'm going to go wait for you guys by the school, but I want to watch because I didn't want anyone to come and move the stuff that I found or I thought was. And so he said, okay. Then when I got back in the car, Cindy said, what are we doing? I said, we're waiting by the school a minute. She goes, why? I said, the detective coming. And I don't know who put the stuff there. Like Jamie said, I don't know who did it. It could be Cindy, it could be anybody. I don't know. And if it was my kids, she should have got out the car and helped me look.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point.
And,
so I'm eager to know or learn what it was that you found in this house. And again, the details as to why it got on your radar. So I know that Anita purposefully withheld the items that she found there, but what were so significant about the items? I know what my mind wants to think. I wonder if any of it had to do with child's clothing. I wonder if anything had to do with the age group or age range of Jack or Lilly, perhaps. Maybe it was another diaper dump.
You don't have to answer
She
this.
didn't want me to go there.
Yeah. You didn't take pictures, or you want to answer that? I don't know. It's a good
No,
question.
I regret. You know what? No, but I wish I had have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I believe the detectives got what I found.
Yeah, because you believe what everybody's raised to believe. Oh, the detectives, they're going to do their job and everything. Too bad. But you know what? No, we know. So this is what that picture is. And the other one, I want to also clarify. I'm doing this very systematically, people, because I don't want to have any holes in.
Okay, y'all. I'm going to wrap things up 2.5 hours. Thank you guys very much for putting yourself through this tonight. Hopefully it was informative. Let me know what you think in the comment section below and stay tuned. If you're interested, Mike and Anita will be going live if you can stay up late enough. And you don't have a membership, you can listen in as it's being streamed. So hopefully they go live tonight. Again, thank you all very much. Peace out.